Early on the first day of the week, while it was still dark, Mary Magdalene went to the tomb and saw that the stone had been removed from the tomb. So she ran and went to Simon Peter and the other disciple, the one whom Jesus loved, and said to them, "They have taken the Lord out of the tomb, and we do not know where they have laid him." Then Peter and the other disciple set out and went toward the tomb. The two were running together, but the other disciple outran Peter and reached the tomb first. He bent down to look in and saw the linen wrappings lying there, but he did not go in. Then Simon Peter came, following him, and went into the tomb. He saw the linen wrappings lying there, and the cloth that had been on Jesus' head, not lying with the linen wrappings, but rolled up in a place by itself. Then the other disciple who reached the tomb first also went in, and he saw and believed. For as yet they did not understand the scripture, that he must rise from the dead. Jenny, you were showing me this lovely book the other day, and this particular picture of Simon Peter and the beloved disciple, who we always take to be John, don't we? The more I look at it, the more rich it becomes, and it really is quite a good way into this story, this wonderful Easter story.
I think that's what I love about John's Gospel account, is that we sort of get all these different characters, and then we get the different reactions on this Bernard painting. Picks up particularly the characters of Peter and the beloved disciple John, and just to see the intensity of the way they're sort of running towards the tomb, and yet we get the idea that Peter's a bit older, a bit puffed maybe, and
heavy smoker,
one movie, fisherman, and then John, and then you get this whole beautiful sense of the colour of the early morning, because John seems to always be interested too in that sort of darkness to light, and how that perhaps pictures something of that journey towards belief, and find that really interesting.
The journey to belief. Yes, that's good, isn't it?
I find that quite encouraging, because it was different, and even for Mary Magdalene, she presumably thinks she's going to find a body, and yet somehow she finds the tomb is empty. She's still not sure what's happening. She's on a journey as well, and must have taken courage to arrive in the dark. And so
we still haven't finished the journey. We've been journeying right through John's Gospel, through Lent, so these big stories of, weeks ago we talked about Nicodemus, and then the Samaritan woman, and the blind man born blind, and so on. All part of that journey, which takes us through John's Gospel. And over the next few weeks we're going to look at more of John. But here, this little cameo focus of just a few minutes on the first Easter day.
And I like the way we get this idea that sort of Peter goes bowling in, as Peter always seemed to, and sort of bowls in, and then John, we're told, goes in and believes. And it's funny, isn't it, that we're almost told straight away they didn't understand.
They did not understand
the scriptures, so they're sort of faith-seeking understanding. They're on a journey. They're trying to work out what's happening, and they've got a glimpse. I think you get that in the painting with the light dawning. It's almost like it's dawning that there's another way of looking at things, and they're on the way to that. But we're not into full daylight yet. And I find that quite encouraging, because sometimes it's like that for us. We sometimes have days when we find
doesn't
believing
make sense.
or when nothing makes sense. But I think the sort of forward thrust of this picture is they're keeping going on that journey, and they're keeping going with this hope that's just dawning within them.
And for us here in this cathedral, Easter is always a time of baptism and confirmation and renewal of faith and commitment. And that, in fact, we here just last night will have done the service of the Easter Vigil, of lighting the Easter candle in the darkness, and then the journey theme as it moves down through our very long nave here in the cathedral. For me, that's always one of the most powerful and most moving of services, of the many that we do here. And
I think having two, as we have this year, two adults who are making that that choice, who've been on the journey for quite a while.
For a good long time. Coming
and have been travelling with us as a community, and now are making that decision to be baptised. And there is something about that darkness to light of Easter,
Indeed.
which is a very powerful image for them, I think.
And even in this short snippet of Scripture, of course we're not getting into the rest of the story about Mary Magdalene, but even in the three people who are mentioned, Mary Magdalene, Peter and the beloved disciple, each of them has a different reaction.
Yes, yeah.
And I think that's really important too,
Yeah.
that there is no one way, only one way that we react to Jesus.
And of coming to faith.
And of coming to faith.
Believing. Yeah.
Each of us, yes, we're on the journey, but it's an individual journey,
Yes.
but in the company of others.
Yes, and Jesus respects that and
He
honours
does,
that.
yeah. And we need to do the same, respecting other
with
people.
other people
I think,
where they are on the
where
journey.
they are on the journey.
Yes, and welcoming them.
Well, food for thought on the
part of the Easter story.
while we
Easter dawning.
Easter dawning, indeed.